Good morning. I'd like to call the April 24th, 2024 Finance Committee meeting to order. Can I get a roll call?
Mr. Eckhoff?
Present.
Mr. Dennell?
Present.
Mr. Hess?
Present.
Ms. Polk?
Present.
Ms. Weber?
Present.
Ms. Parker?
Present.
Mr. Seroy? Mr. Swanson?
Present.
Mr. Featherling?
Present.
Mr. Miller? Mr. Long?
Present.
Mr. Hunter? Ms. Foster? Ms. Armour Herbst? Mr. Wheeler? Mr. Alexander Hildebrand? We have a quorum.
We have a quorum. Can I have a motion to allow Ms. Parker and Mr. Swanson to enter through Zoom? Motion by Mr. Dunnell, second by Mr. Hess. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. I have no slips of public comment. Is there any public comment in the back? Seeing none. Approval of minutes from March 27, 2024. Motion to approve by Mr. Hunter, second by Mr. Long. I'll amend it to Mrs. Polk for the second. Any discussions, corrections on the minutes? All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next up is presentation of the mental health court grant. Mr. Latham. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning. The mental health court grant, as I kind of described when I discussed it in criminal justice, 2 weeks ago, it's important to point out that there's two tracks to this. There's a mental health court that has been developed, okay, that application was made to AOIC in October of last year, and they received word that they could begin, the court has to be certified through AOIC. They received that okay, and that program began a short time ago. At the same time, Judge Parkhurst identified funding a grant that would help assist with the mental health court. Okay, so that's what this is about today. It's a 3-year grant worth up to $550,000 total. We will not be asking for that much. It'd be more around $100,000 each year. It's a federal grant through the Bureau of Justice. It's October to September, so really most of this would be in fiscal year 25 for the county. It does require a match, which is 20% the first 2 years and 40% the third year. I met with Steve and Chris in finance regarding that match. That has been met through current expenses. And so really the money's gonna go through the first year. It's gonna be more targeted towards getting startup cost for the program for the court, technology training, different things like that. Also with just overall treatment, similar to what we do with our drug court grant, with our drug court program. Treatment, transportation, medication, and different things like that. But it's really great timing as far as getting this money to help start this up. After year 3, I guess it's decision time on, at that point, what's working, what you can afford, what we can't, all those decisions. But hopefully, well, I guess we'll have to just worry about that, and I guess in 3 years when we, at that point. I know that was real quick. I've been talking about this in our office for months, so it's kind of, but any questions?
Chairman Wheeler.
It just occurred to me when you said federal, so this is federal money, is it passed through the state? Or is it just direct fed?
Direct fed.
Direct fed. So the way that local match is being met is through some employee hours, things
Correct.
like that.
Yeah.
And so those people are free and clear of other federal money.
Correct.
Because you can't use in two different. I just want to make sure that
they're
exactly not tied to some other federal.
Correct. You're exactly right. And we met with Steve and Chris. We discussed all that. Even the grant and aid from, our employees couldn't be used because they're being reimbursed through grant and aid through the state.
Right.
Things like that. So that was all covered.
You guys are all good on that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Like you said, I do think the board has a decision in 3 years because don't forget, the public said they didn't want to spend their resources on mental health. So while we know it's needed in the criminal justice system, 3 years will be a big decision.
Mm-hmm.
Any other discussion? Can I have a motion? Mr. Hess.
Thank you, Chairman. I'll make the motion to approve this, but I think at criminal justice, Tom, you said you were going to try to get other grants.
Yeah.
At the starting in the second year, you were gonna look for other grants?
Can I get a second to your motion? Second by Mr. Hunter. Okay.
Yes, we talked about just being as, searching for whatever kind of funding we can at the time, be very aggressive and get ahead of it. Like we said that second year is important.
Yep.
I don't know if this one will continue. Some of them do. Our drug court grant has continued. We had the original 5 years. I think now we're into the second year of the second 5 years of it. So we'll just have to wait and see at that point, but yes. Yeah.
Any other discussions or questions? Mr. Hunter.
And second, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Tom, how will you interface with, or what role will Helen Wheeler play in this particular?
Helen Wheeler, Riverside. And even Judge Cunnington pointed out at Criminal Justice back when we started the mental health court idea, back in last year, we had all those partners at a meeting, including Helen Wheeler. Everybody could be. It was a great turnout. It was and really discussed, and just get everybody just to build a coalition there, and so yes, Helen Wheeler, all the local agencies are very
Thank you.
much a part of it.
Any other questions or discussion? If not, roll call vote.
Mr. Eckhoff?
Aye.
Mr. Dennell? Mr. Hess?
Aye.
Ms. Polk?
Aye.
Ms. Weber? Aye. Ms. Parker?
Aye.
Mr. Swanson? Mr. Featherling?
Aye.
Okay. Mr. Featherling?
Aye.
Mr. Long?
Aye.
Mr. Hunter?
Aye.
Ms. Foster?
Aye.
Mr. Wheeler? Motion carries.
Motion carries.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you very much, Tom. Next up is the electrical aggregation for rural areas. At yesterday's executive committee, there was a individual here to do the presentation. Does anybody have any discussion, comments? You see in your packet what the dollar amount would be for to the county. Do we want to do a 1-year contract, 2 or 3? The individual recommended a 3-year contract. It's going to be ComEd rate. Chairman, do you have a recommendation of what you would like to see?
I would recommend 1.
1?
I don't know that this business model is going to exist with aggregation going forward because the ComEd rates are, as the gentleman mentioned, competition has not emerged. So I would lock in this year and begin the process for next year to see if competition does materialize, because we did very well on behalf of the taxpayers the last couple of years, but as people noticed, the rates towards the end started to match what ComEd rate was. There was no savings to the people. They didn't pay any more, but that's kind of describes the lack of value in those types of aggregation agreements. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
I guess that's my recommendation to here. It's either 1 or 2. I don't know what.
I'm cool with 1, so I'll take that as a motion from Mr. Wheeler. Second. Ms. Weber, seconds. Discussion, Mr. Featherlane.
Did we go 3 years last time, Andy?
No, I think we went 1, right?
Yeah,
We did?
I thought
Yeah, we did 3, and it was.
To lock the price, basically set it in.
Yeah.
But you don't think it's gonna, competition's gonna lower the price, you think? For sure? I mean, it should happen that way.
We would hope that.
There is
That's the
no
way-
competition, as they said yesterday.
Yeah, there's no
Correct.
way to bid
There's
against
nobody else in the business but one company.
Yes.
them. That's not good. Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion or comments from the committee? If not, roll call. Voice? We're getting money. Yeah. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next up is Mr. McCarty. Yes.
Just a second.
Yeah.
We need to consider whether any of our buildings are in this rate agreement, because we might need a roll call, because we would be spending money.
Okay. We'll just do the roll call as
I don't think we have anything in the rural areas, but do roll just to
Okay.
be sure, please. I'm sorry.
roll call, please.
Mr. Eckhoff?
Aye.
Mr.
That makes
Dennell?
sense?
Mr. Hess? Ms. Polk?
Aye.
Ms. Weber? Ms. Parker?
Aye.
Mr. Swanson? Mr. Featherling?
Aye.
Mr. Long?
Aye.
Mr. Hunter?
Aye.
Ms. Foster? Mr. Wheeler?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Mr. Swanson said aye for the
Okay,
record.
thanks.
All right, now, Mr. McCarty, in your packet, you have the miscellaneous financial reports.
Good morning.
Good morning, Steve.
Since there's a lot on the agenda today, I won't spend a lot of time on some of these areas or the monthly updates. I know somebody has a question You know, we're seeing ebbs and flows, you know, which are pretty normal. I'm not concerned with any, you know, negative trend at this point. So just, but I'll entertain any questions if there are any. If not, we can keep moving.
Is the cannabis number, is that the new sales tax rate that we were expecting? Or?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
And it showed up faster than regular sales tax, so I don't think it goes through the same process, you know, the monthly process, where sales tax is 4 months out. I believe that was January's collected in February.
So did we lose out on the other previous months that we weren't getting the effective rate?
Potentially.
Potentially?
I'll
Okay.
have to look back at that.
Okay, you're good. Any questions on the reports, Mr. Chairman?
It's a question regarding the report. How long, Steve, in your estimation, do you have to let this, I don't want to say steep, these numbers before you're able to peg them as a alternate revenue source? I'm just curious in terms of financial resources. Did they want to see a couple years, or is that a question we should ask?
No, they want to see it. I mean, yeah, and are they willing to use cannabis or not for, you know, with, it's got to have some history before they're comfortable with it. Obviously, it's new, but yeah, trend is important as far as payment, you know, I'd like to use it as a repayment source.
Maybe we'll put that on our list for our bond council conversation if we end up talking to those folks. So, okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Next up is cash flow update.
Everything, no issues. Just update for the committee's sake as we go through. You know, historically, April, May, June would be our lowest cash flow months before property tax distribution. So sitting at or above 10 million is not an issue right now. So it's all good news. So unless there's any questions.
Any questions? Seeing none, claims recommended and not recommended for approval. Mr. Dunnell.
I move that we combine and approve.
Motion to combine and approve the claims. Second. Mr. Long. Can you just highlight the claims and read them into the record, Steve?
Read them in. All right. The ICRMT, or Illinois Counties Risk Management Trust, deductible recovery. Kinky Valley Theater Association. You want me to read the totals? Sorry.
Yeah.
ICRMT is $33,579.27. Kinky Valley Theater Association, $250. Amazon Capital Services, $858.72. This is for the county treasurer for repayment of a credit card to the from a special fund, $86.56. Eric J. Bones, $416.66. Illinois Bone and Joint Institute, $35,000. Johnny's Pizza, $732.86. Extreme Promotional Products, $421.57. Christopher Burke Engineering, $28,900. River Valley Metro Mass Transit, $6,704.89.
And there was one more credit card for $1,584.37. Vilt is what I have on the screen that I didn't hear you say.
Did I connect something?
Right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The of that amount, that's what got questioned. So the $86.56 of the total for the state's attorney.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, the Jimmy John's
is what got got put in question. So
okay. We have a motion and a second on the floor to approve. Any discussion from anyone on the committee? Roll call.
Mr. Eckhoff?
Aye. Yeah, you are.
Mr. Dunnell? Aye. Mr. Hess? Aye. Ms. Polk?
Aye.
Ms. Weber? Aye. Ms. Parker?
Aye.
Mr. Swanson?
Aye.
Mr. Featherling?
Aye.
Mr. Long?
Aye.
Mr. Hunter?
Aye.
Ms. Foster? Mr. Wheeler? Motion carries.
Motion carries. Next up is monthly claims. Can I get a motion to approve the monthly claims? Motion by Mr. Hunter, second by Mr. Swanson. Any highlights, Steve, on the monthly claims? It all
No
looks like
highlights. If anybody
usual.
has any questions.
questions. Roll call.
Mr. Eckhoff?
Aye.
Mr. Dennell? Mr. Hess? Ms. Polk?
Aye.
Ms. Weber? Ms. Parker?
Aye.
Mr. Swanson?
Aye.
Mr. Featherling? Mr. Long? Mr. Hunter?
Aye.
Ms. Foster? Mr. Wheeler? Motion carries.
Motion carries. Next up, ARPA Treasury clarifications.
Yeah, here recently, Chris and I were on a NACO informational webinar. The Treasury has updated and clarified obligation and other things as we get closer here to the December 31st, 2024 deadline, and then what to expect for 25 and 26 as well. So I've included some information, just wanted to highlight a few things going forward. And one was they are going to allow legal and administrative costs to continue. And so one of the, I was able to get a copy of the presentation, and it didn't print out perfectly, but the majority of the information is there. So any legal administrative costs for ARPA really looks like it has to be for basically administering the remaining part of the funds going forward. So, you know, reporting and compliance costs, single audit, you know, record retention, if there's anything environmental, civil rights or non-discrimination. So legal, you know, connection there. And then sub-recipient monitoring. So, and one of the interesting things that we weren't sure about is, so some of we do have a list as well that's included for an update for funds, and the sub-recipients would particularly be in Fund 095 that have been approved and have not been completed yet. These can go on through 12/31 of 2026 because of their status. I have emailed each and every one of them to get an update on where things are at for their project. We've had a couple of responses, one of which is here before you. Here we'll talk about soon. They did request a change for your consideration, but so we wanted to do that. It kind of explains what revenue loss, so our lost revenue fund, you know, what that can be applied for, which we're good there. And then most importantly was reclassifying funds once we cross over December 31st, 2024. So so as a good example will be if we use our animal control building and our new Tyler courthouse software projects. If those both cross over the December 31st, 2024 threshold, then what they're saying is if one goes over cost, the other one is under cost, you can transfer funds between those projects. So we are, for the lost revenue side of things, we are better off having as many projects as possible crossover, if you will, in order to be able to keep using those funds. So they're not restricted to just the, you know, if you say we're doing this and it's that, you know, so they've opened it up to try to at least help us spend all the funds. So it's one thing to be obligated with a resolution and a project, and then if things change once we're in fiscal year 25, our fiscal year 25 and 26, trying to finish up those funds, and we got overages, or, you know, if it comes in under, the project comes in under, we have the ability to cross into each other, but we can't create something brand new once we cross 12/31 2024. So it has to be already set in order for that to take place. Does that make sense? Okay, hopefully I was wanting to explain that. So So anyway, that's the update, and then if there's no other questions there, then the one project that requested a change was the Kankakee River Valley Forest Preserve District. Basically, they're asking, they applied at the same time for an OSLAD grant for the same parking lot. This is for a parking lot. All right, for the same parking lot, they were awarded that grant simultaneously. So this letter before you is asking, instead of that parking lot, to go to Gar Creek parking lot. If I'm understanding, the requests correctly here.
Yes.
So it's 20,000. It looks like 20,000 of a $62,000 project. So the original parking lot was the Highland Lakes Reserve. So they're going from Highland Lakes to Gar Creek for parking lot improvement. So that's their request as far as a change request for the 20,000 use of the 20,000. So, and that would be up to the committee's pleasure.
I think we would have Ms. Parker. Do you have something to say on this?
I do. Yes, I spoke to the committee members, and actually, it's the same thing. If you do it at Highland Gar Creek, so I totally support. They're asking for the money because it's needed. It's for the community. It's going to help get more access to that particular pond over there on Highland. It's a wreck. So definitely both parking lots are supported by me.
So is that a motion to amend it, Ms. Parker?
Yes.
Okay, motion.
I would definitely make the motion to amend it for both parking lots.
I think it's just for the one, right?
Yeah,
For
reading the
for
rest.
Gar Creek.
Okay,
Yes,
yes.
Gar Creek.
Yeah, so
Okay,
motion,
just for the one, for Gar Creek.
okay, motion by Mrs. Parker, second by Mr. Hunter. Any other discussion on this? Mr. Chairman Wheeler.
I just need it stated, I'm a little bit confused here. I heard 20,000, 60,000, are we lowering it?
No, it's 20.
What the original one
No,
was?
the original resolution is for 20,000. So it's the same. It's under reimbursement. The resolution doesn't identify the specific parking lot, but for audit proof, for audit purposes, and our backup information that we require for the reimbursement, I just wanted to make sure we were all clear and there was communication with the finance committee. So it's still 20,000. The resolution, in my opinion,
location's
doesn't
just
need to be.
changing.
It's just
the location.
Yeah.
it's just the application for what location is changing, and we're getting communication and approval here at the finance committee.
Thank you.
So.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Any other discussion or questions from the committee?
Nope.
If not, roll call.
Mr. Eckhoff?
Aye.
Mr. Dennell? Mr. Hess? Ms. Polk?
Aye.
Ms. Weber? Ms. Parker?
Aye.
Mr. Swanson?
Aye.
Mr. Featherling?
Aye.
Mr. Long? Mr. Hunter? Ms. Foster? Mr. Wheeler? Motion carries.
Motion carries. Anything else, Steve?
No, that's all I had. Unless any questions, next month we'll be here with SKDO, our outside auditors, with the year-end report.
Perfect. Thank you for all your work, Steve.
Thanks.
Chairman Wheeler.
Could I make a motion to allow the sheriff to go ahead and take care of his business, because he's got a meeting in a second? And
Absolutely.
I just want to mess around with Nick too. No, he tapped me on the shoulder. He's got a meeting, I believe, with.
Yeah, can I have a motion
DOC.
to amend the agenda to allow the declaring of the vehicles as surplus and declaring equipment as surplus? Motion by Mr. Hunter, second by Mr. Hess. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Sheriff Downey.
Yeah, I think there's two items on the agenda. One is the vehicles. Those vehicles include two old box trucks, and I don't have the information in front of me, but they're like 1996 box trucks or something. One was our SWAT box truck that, for those of you that don't know, our SWAT team is a multi-jurisdictional unit that has officers from and I hate to miss one, but Mantino Moments, Bradley Bourbonnais,
Kankakee
City, and us. Kankakee City actually has a box truck that they are now utilizing for our SWAT team, so that old box truck can be properly disposed of. The other box truck, I believe, is a maintenance box truck that is old and rusted out that they don't use also. And then I believe the third vehicle is a trailer that was seized by our stolen auto task force that we have no use for. We have adequate trailers, and so we would like to get those disposed of. And then the fourth vehicle is one of the 2023 vans we bought for corrections. If you recall, we bought 5 of those vans, and we at this point don't need it. And as I've always told this committee and our criminal justice committee, I don't like just spending money to spend money. We do have a buyer for that van for full sticker price. It's LaSalle County, who also is in need of a corrections van. So that $52,000 for that van would go back to the general fund. So, and then the other one is the equipment, is computer equipment that's God knows how old. We just want to dispose of the computer equipment as well.
Yes, Mr. Hunter.
Any motion on this stuff yet?
No. Okay, can I have a motion to combine and approve? Motion by Mr. Hunter, second by Mr. Hess. Any other Mr. Hunter?
I just had a question. Sheriff, those excuse me, those box trucks, how much would it cost to rehab some of those? I'm not looking for you to do that, but maybe another governmental unit could use them.
I don't know, Mr. Hunter. They are 25 years old.
Oh.
So, yeah, I know. If we could have, obviously, if we could have gotten them to, before, I mean, we just needed them. I mean, and at this point, we don't need them, but they did serve a useful lifespan.
Okay.
Chairman Wheeler.
I was looking up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Don't we have like a 10% fee that we charge other counties when they buy our vehicles? I'm sorry. Shipping and handling, processing. No, I'm just kidding.
Any other questions or comments from the committee? We have a motion on the floor, second. Roll call.
Mr. Eckhoff?
Aye.
Mr. Dunnell? Mr. Hess? Ms. Polk? Ms. Weber? Ms. Parker?
Aye.
Mr. Swanson?
Aye.
Mr. Featherling? Mr. Long? Mr. Hunter? Ms. Foster? Mr. Wheeler?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you all for letting me jump ahead of Nick.
I think we have another motion to amend the agenda to make the treasurer go last. Next up is the treasurer's office. Motion to combine and approve his reports. Motion by Mr. Featherling, second by Mr. Long. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Morning, everyone. I think last week, so I guess the most pertinent topic is taxes. Tax bills will be in the mail around the 20th of May. Somewhere in that area. We're getting ready to receive the tax file from the clerk's office here by the 1st of May. And then once we have the file, then we'll send it to the printer. And they'll be in the mail on the last Thursday of June, and I don't have the date handy, will be the end of the first collection. So it'll go to the last Thursday. So that's the most pressing issue. Secondly, I was here last week and talked about doing a banking review. And we've now completed the banking review and actually got some very good news. I'll give you for instance, there's an average collected balance in the special fund of 18.5 million a month. And presently, and this is, remember, we're on the high side of interest at this point. We presently get 0.3% interest on that account. There are only 2 banks in town besides PNC, so I guess 3, that could work with the size of our accounts. As you know, I don't do business with PNC because they don't collect taxes. So that leaves two banks, First American and Midland States. Midland States came back to us with a program, a product that they created for us, which will create an automatic sweep account that will sweep daily from the special fund, from our tax collection account, into a interest-bearing account, not a money market, absolutely totally liquid, for 4.95% interest. If there's a check that's cut for $2 million, the money is pulled back, pay the check. Right now, the projections are we would be making about $80,000 a month in interest just on our special fund. So that's almost $1 million a year toward the general fund that we presently don't have. That is a very complicated banking situation, as Steve could attest. There's lots of funds that funnel into the special fund. I believe there's some government entities that pay into the special fund, so changing it is not something we can do overnight. So we're going to endeavor to begin that process as soon as tax time is over. But we have begun and will use Midland States for our tax collection account, which is what we see roughly $210 million flow through. And it's short term, it's only flows through for a month, but at 4.95% interest, it's better than a sharp stick in the eye.
Are you, when you said for tax season, are you talking about just for the first installment or after this whole year?
After the second installment.
Okay, so after the season's done.
Yeah,
okay.
after tax out, because it's a situation where we'll have to keep open 2 accounts for several months to make sure everything is landing where it needs to land. But what I found was interesting is, so for instance, the motor fuel, not motor fuel, but highway departments accounts at First American have been there since 1967. And my sense is that we haven't done anything with any of these accounts because it takes some work. And it's just convenient to not move them. But it's not great for the county in terms of interest rates and other things. So First American Midland States came back very aggressively, I thought. They want our business. First American would like to keep our business. So we're not gonna move everything to one place at this point. But I think we're looking at it from a standpoint of, instead of us coming to you to tell you how we can do this better, you should be our banking partners coming to us. And that's certainly what Midland States did. 4.95% is pretty darn aggressive for a absolutely liquid account. You couldn't get 4.95 right now anywhere in town on a money market with limited withdrawals. So we're really, really excited about it. Yeah, it's good for them, so, and good for us, good for the county, good for the people. And I think I've said this before, anything that's not tax collection, we derive the income. Yeah. So if we make $1 million on special fund interest, we keep $1 million in special fund interest. So that's money that the county then can offset other things. And so I anticipate at some point our banking will be split probably between 2 banks, but we'll stay on top of both of them to be aggressive on interest rates and keep earning more money while we can, while interest rates are up.
Chairman Wheeler.
Thank you. Great news that you know, we've seen what interest does, especially when you actually have money in the bank. There's a novel idea.
Yeah.
So anyway,
yeah. Thank you to you.
No.
There was never anything to invest before.
No. I say no to spending it. I don't put it in there. The taxpayers. So when I guess you threw me off there a little bit. Is there gonna be a separate line in the GL that'll say something like liquid interest or something like that, knowing that you've carved this off, that we can account for this separately? You see where I'm going with that? Like,
Yeah, that would probably be a Steve question.
it can't be a special fund, but I could see a reason to kind of keep that separate and say,
Of course.
we're going to let that sit there until we have enough for Project X or
Well,
whatever, a
it
future
would-
board.
It will need to sit there specifically because, let's just say, and Steve would know the actual number, but let's say there's 30 pieces to the special fund. Presently, and this would be the exact way going forward, the interest that's earned is prorated proportionally amongst all the pieces of that fund. See what I mean? So that would continue to happen. So we always, in my office, always have a spreadsheet with exactly month by month what we earn. And as I said, it's 0.3% right now on a fund that has our largest collected balance monthly. So we're just leaving a lot on the table. And listen, I don't want to undersell it. It'll be a ton of work. So it needs to work for Steve. It needs to work for us. It needs to work for SKDO. But I have no questions that it can and should work. And then I'm going to reach out to 911. I'm going to reach out to Highway Department. There's some opportunities for them to invest some money, which keeps it liquid again. Because for us, obviously, liquidity is the key. Right now, I'm locking up 6 month, 7 month CDs, and I consider that fairly liquid, but you can't lock them all up. You can't lock it all up for 7 months. So to have something very liquid, and actually CD right now, 4.95 is better than we get for a 7 month CD. I think we're at about 4 or 5. So, and just so everybody knows, it's been asked recently. We move money around to all banks in the county. We try to, except the one I mentioned earlier. We try to move it all around. Community banks, bigger banks, smaller banks.
Good.
You know, obviously it has to be collateralized. So, questions?
Kudos. Good job.
Put me at the end again.
All right. Thank you, Treasurer Africano. Next up, other business bid opening for the Kankakee County Circuit Clerk Office Furniture. Can I have a motion to allow Wes to open this bid? Motion by Mr. Hunter, second by Mr. Dunnell. All in favor say aye. Motion. All opposed. Motion carries.
All right, good morning.
Good morning.
We're good to open this?
Yes.
All right, as he mentioned, this is for the office furniture that's related to the circuit clerk remodel at the courthouse. This was published in the local paper, and we've received one bid. Not entirely surprising, because if you recall, we only received one bid on the basement furniture as well when that went out to bid, and this is from the same vendor, Warehouse Direct, that we utilized for the basement project as well. So their bid, including delivery and installation at prevailing wage, is $44,477.05. So $44,477.05. So what I would like to do is obviously review this for accuracy. So if I could have a bid, I guess, to accept this bid as the lowest bidder, and then I'll review it for accuracy. And then at that point, I would like to identify them as responsible once I have the opportunity to review it.
Motion by Mr. Hunter, second
Parker.
by Ms. Parker. Any discussion? Questions? Roll call.
Mr. Eckhoff?
Aye.
Mr. Dunnell? Mr. Hess? Ms. Polk?
Aye.
Ms. Weber? Ms. Parker?
Aye.
Mr. Swanson?
Aye.
Mr. Featherling? Mr. Long?
Aye.
Mr. Hunter? Ms. Foster? Mr. Wheeler? Motion carries.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next up is replacement new vehicles for planning, public defender, and state's attorney's office van. Who's gonna take this one? Okay, I don't have anything in the packet. Okay. Chairman Wheeler? We'll come back to this one. Next up, public defender staffing request. Good morning. If you remember in criminal justice, Ed talked to this, but he can reinstate it since it's been a couple weeks.
First of all, good morning, everyone. My name is Ed Pennewick. I think most of you know me. Some of you may not. Long story short, I've been working for the county since 1995. I started here as a prosecutor. In 2018, there was some unpleasantness between myself and my employer, Mr. Rowe, and I no longer work there. I immediately took a job at the public defender's office in 2018. Worked there for approximately a year, and then when there was an opening up at the pursuant to the retirement of Gus Regas, the judiciary voted by a majority to have me become chief public defender. I've held that position since I think September of 2019. Regarding this issue, which I did talk about at criminal justice, it is well, simply I'm calling it a good faith mistake. And I don't take this lightly at all, and I appreciate some humor in this, but I did draft a page-and-a-half email to Mr. Wheeler with attachments. I'm not going to go over that verbatim, obviously. Back in October of 2021, I was allotted $75,000 out of ARPA money to hire either one full-time or two part-time assistants. At that time, I did hire two part-timers. One of them quit early on, only worked for my office for a couple of months, and that spot was left open. I thought in good faith that the allotment was annual, $75,000 annually back in, since one person left the office, I did not backfill the position until quite some time later. I was able to rehire a Northwestern graduate, Chavez Rosenthal, and that was back in 2023, August of 2023. At that time, I began to double check and make sure the money was still available to me through my own mistakes and misinterpretations with Mr. McCarty and others. I thought that money was still available. I never would have hired Mr. Rosenthal if I had known the money was not available. Since I've started here, I've been under budget every year, and I plan to continue to be so. I know being under budget there's many variables involved, personnel changes and so forth, but I've not come close to meeting my budget every year and giving money back. However, I thought I was greenlit to hire Mr. Rosenthal out of ARPA money. That was simply an error. It was a mistake on my part, a misinterpretation of the resolution, and a misinterpretation of conversations I've had with certain personnel. Long story short, I'm looking for what I believe to be a $75,000 adjustment going back to December 1st of 2023 through the end of this fiscal year. When I hired Mr. Rosenthal, under the assumption it was ARPA money, I told him I would not, come November 30th of this year, his position was up for grabs, basically. I made it very clear to him. Mr. Regas knows that also. So I don't want to withdraw the possibility of that something happening but next budget cycle, but at this point, it is very clear to my employees that they are not guaranteed a position come November 30th. That's basically all I have to say. I believe this is the first time I've come before you asking for any type of adjustment to my budget, and I do apologize for my mistake on this matter, but that's where I'm at.
Okay, Chairman Wheeler.
First, I'll make the motion to approve the adjustment of or amending of the resolution, or whatever Steve has to do in order to make this match up with what Treasury needs from us for expenditure by the end of this year.
And it'll be ARPA money?
It'll be ARPA.
Okay.
Yeah. It'll come out. That's the motion, and then a few questions, obviously.
Yeah.
That.
So motion by Mr. Wheeler, second by Ms. Polk. Discussions or questions? I see Steve's going to the microphone.
Yeah.
Mr. McCarty.
My suggestion would be to the language to extend it funding through 11/30/2024,
Okay.
for what I just said through our fiscal year, then we're not running out of money, you know, we're funding that program until that date. And
Okay.
then that'll
Till the end of this
fine.
fiscal year.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
And that was gonna be my question. It won't require a budget amendment because it's ARPA money.
yes.
And we've already budgeted that expenditure out of ARPA. Okay.
Any other comments or discussion? Ms. Weber?
Thank you. Excuse me, the motion, the resolution says up to $75,000. Do you think, what do you think that amount would be?
I was paid two part-timers $35,000 each, so that was $70,000. I did give Mr. Regas a annual raise out of the ARPA money. I don't have the hard number. I have some hard numbers in front of me, but not all of them. But the anticipation would be up to $75,000, and obviously, if that money's not spent, it's not spent. I mean,
It's for the whole fiscal year, though.
correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Hunter?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Ed, could you go back a little bit and something you shared with your staff about their status? And
Yeah, I told you. No, is that the question? I interrupted you. I apologize. Yeah, I made it very clear when the ARPA money was first allocated back in 2021 that when I hired those people, it was only for the period of that ARPA money. I could not promise them employment afterwards. I made it clear that there was absolutely no guarantee that there'd be any type of readjustment at the end of the ARPA money. So they knew going in it was a part-time, or not a part-time position, a temporary position potentially.
okay.
And I told you, including, if that answers your question.
And just so this committee knows, those that are on criminal justice, the state is trying to take over public defenders. So we don't know. I mean, it's still up in the air what his office is going to look like in 2025, 2026. So I just want to make sure that those that aren't on criminal justice know that going forward.
I could be heard on that. I guess this may not be the time or the place. That's still very fluid. They passed a law establishing in the beginning of the process, which I'm calling the beginning of the process. The law does not say it's the beginning of the process, but through discussions I've had with people throughout the state, I know that's happening. But at this point, I mean, it could be as quick as maybe 2026. It could go on for a long, long time. So I know there've been representation that it's going to happen very quickly or that it's happening. It's just not, it's not happening yet, but it's going to happen, but it may not be, you know, for some time.
And the Chicago Tribune had a good article on that, going off of what Cook County pays for public defenders, what the possibility that the state of Illinois would do. So to your point, yes. What's that? I'll send the article to you. It pretty much just talked about what their budget is. It's kind of like what you talked about at criminal justice, that they may be taking over your office, taking over your budget. We just don't know what the end goal is through the state. So any other discussions or comments? We have a motion on the floor. If not, roll call.
Mr. Eckhoff?
Aye.
Mr. Dunnell? Mr. Hess? Ms. Polk?
Aye.
Ms. Weber? Ms. Parker? Sorry, Ms. Parker?
Aye.
Mr. Swanson?
Aye.
Mr. Featherling? Mr. Long? Mr. Hunter?
Aye.
Ms. Foster? Mr. Wheeler? Motion carries.
Motion carries.
I appreciate it, and hopefully I will learn from my mistakes, so I appreciate it.
Thank you. Going back to the replacement of new vehicles for Planning Department, Public Defender, and State's Attorney's Office van. Chairman Wheeler?
Basically, we've had a lot of requests for vehicles. It seems like we've had a mass extinction of cars across the county. The planning department seems to be ground zero. So if it's okay with this committee, we'll have the list from those people brought forward. I have a request already in hand from Mr. Latham for, I believe it was an Explorer with a cage and all of that kind of stuff, you know, to keep people, you know, the cage apparatus in the back to separate there. I figure we should do it all at once.
Okay.
And I would wonder, would you want to hear that as a separate budgetary request, or would you like it to come when we have a full accounting of what's left in ARPA, and then you could make a better decision? You see where I'm going with that? It's because if without knowing one number, you're pigeonholed into making a decision on a general fund.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I try to give you as much information as I can, but we won't have that until late May.
Okay, so Mr. Long?
Yeah, I would like to see it as a separate request. That way we know what we're getting into.
So have it come in now, as long as those, do any of those department heads present, is this an immediate issue for you? Do you need action yesterday?
Ed saying no. Mr. Latham, no. Delbert's coming up to this, the microphone. What's that? Yeah. Mr. Skimmerhorn?
Yes.
Yeah, it's on.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. I believe we can get by. We do have one vehicle that is out. The repairs are closing in on $5,000, so it's sitting in the parking lot right now. But we are sharing the other 4 that we have, so we can get by. Sooner the better, but we can get by.
Okay.
I told Dell we're getting a fleet of Mini Coopers for everybody.
No Maseratis.
Yeah. So.
All right, so just informational purposes, Ms. Weber.
Thank you. Could you repeat again which offices are requesting? Is it just the ones listed here?
Yeah, so it's the Public Defender, Planning, and State's Attorney's Office.
Thank you. Just wondering, Mr. Latham.
Probation too.
Oh, probation?
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Featherly.
Seems like the planning, Delbert's always gotten used cars from the sheriff, so I don't know how, I don't even know if they've ever had a new truck there, a new car there that I know of.
So you're speaking in favor or support of it?
Favor,
Okay,
yes.
all right, just making sure. Chairman Wheeler.
It's been about 20 years, I believe, since they got new vehicles,
Yeah.
and those lasted a long time. So that's why we're buying new vehicles, because we've gotten a lot of value out of the Tahoes. I mean, we really did, because we would have gotten pennies on the dollar for to sell them. So we stretched out 3, 4, 5 years out of those. That cycle's over with.
Okay.
I say the last time first and last time we had new vehicles was 2004. We got 4 brand new Impalas at that time. And I think we got rid of the last one about 2017, 2018.
Okay. Anybody else first time? John, second time.
I better not say that, sorry.
Okay. All right, so that was informational purposes, so this will be coming back to the committee in the future. Everybody's good with that? Okay. Next up is reproduction of existing microfilm proposal, Kankakee County Recorder, Ms. Gadboy. Good morning.
Good morning. So in your packet, Kelly provided you with a copy of a proposal I received from the company we've been using over the past several years for reproduction of our microfilm that we've been integrating into our computer system. As you recall, we did a 12-year project. We now have 4 years left of indexing, and all of that will be then in our computer system. So we'll have 1967 to current day in the computer system. But with that being said, we still have a need to maintain and have on hand our microfilm. So we have microfiche cards today, where I can tell you the very first book, very first set of records had to be removed out of the drawer because of vinegar syndrome that is eating a hole through the metal of the drawer, plus it's deteriorating the image on the microfiche. Microfilming in the recorder's world was identified as a preserved opportunity that if all technology went down, you could still use the sun to read an image on the microfiche. However, over time, this is what happens to it. The Springfield State Archives actually is a repository for the original reproduction of film over time. So beginning of our county time to actually 1988, they have roll film in their repository. We are able to check that out over time, and we have done that, for example, for the 12-year project. That's how those images were then reproduced to be put into our computer system. this proposal from US Imaging is actually going to reproduce it onto 35 millimeter roll film that we will then have in-house. All three of my microfilm readers do read roll film, so there's no additional investment for technology because we already have it. But we need this film. It's getting bad. This is not safe to even really be touching. I have to remind my staff and our searchers, please go wash your hands because I don't want you to get a reaction. The odor coming into our office every Monday morning after a weekend lockdown is just really pleasant. So it's disgusting. It's not practical. We're having to pull film out of these sleeves to try and get a better image for our searchers. And yes, searchers use these images going all the way back to time, either for transactions and economic opportunities for our county or historical purposes, Centennial Farms, or history on historical places. So this is needed. This is not just a pretty thing to have on the shelf. It is used every day. Come into my office, you're gonna see we have searchers every day and they're doing stuff. So the proposal from US Imaging, and this is just for the reproduction of the film, comes in at $50,825. In my budget for this year, I was finishing up that book project you all remember. So I had a line item in there that I'm going to be spending that money to finish the books of $80,000. So I'm going to need to be able to pull additional funds out of my computer fund.
Special funds then?
Yes,
Okay.
special funds. Because this needs to be done. It can't sit any longer. It's getting bad. I'm working on the proposals for the new cabinets because clearly we can't use the cabinets we have because they're rusted and full of this. So they need to get disposed of. So with that being said, I'm looking at a total expectation of probably $80,000. $50,000 for this and up to $30,000 for the additional cabinets to house this roll film that'll be in our office. Questions on that?
Just really quickly,
Yeah.
how much do you have in your special funds?
I have currently $685,106. Well, wait a second though. But I did budget for this year $276,000. So keep in mind.
You're good.
And on average, it's about $85,000 per year we're putting in based on document volume.
You're good, Lori. Question, John. Or Mr.
Lori,
Fellow, sorry.
On those old fish you're talking about there, when I was in high school, we had those in the library.
Yep.
You know?
Me too.
And, are they going to be able to replicate those good enough to be able to make a copy, or can they enhance them? Is that what they're going to do?
On the roll film, this is literally image, 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 image in line. It's just going to be kind of an educational process of teaching our searchers, and many of them do this in other counties already. There's some counties who don't have fiche cards. They only have the roll film. So depending on the direction of their technology at the time. So it's a process, a learning process, and we're happy to help them out with that. So.
Mr. Chairman?
Ms. Parker.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Lori, is there any way, I know that you can transfer photo film to digital. Is there any way that that could be transferred over then? Digitized?
So that's what we did with that 12-year project,
right?
If you recall. So then that takes having to digitize it, then put it into the system, and then index. We still have 4 years left of that project to index. At this time, it's not practical in terms of business operations because without it being indexed, how will they find it?
Right.
So this way, at least it's there. It'll be identified by cards or by covers, they'll know which one to pull to find the film they're looking for. Yes, somewhere down the line, it would be lovely to have everything online. There is only one county in the state of Illinois right now that literally has everything online. And that has taken them years and years and years. And quite honestly, what have I been doing this for 5 years now, I think, when we did it was because of our COVID, we had to do that gap. So this is not something that gets done real fast, unless you want me to hire 12 people to just index, and then we're good to go.
Right. Okay.
No, that's not the request in front of us.
Well, I'm just saying,
That's not
bonus.
the agenda.
Yeah.
But with the staff we have today, doing the back indexing work, plus the current work, because our current work comes first. What is happening in our county today has to be done first. Then they work on old stuff. So every day, there's no consistency if they get 100 done in a day, or maybe only 20, depending on how busy we are. And we have, you know, leaps and valleys, so.
Ms. Weber.
Thank you. This is copying what Springfield has. So there will be actually two, Springfield will keep their copy and you'll
Always,
have the
yeah,
other.
we can never keep theirs.
It's beautiful. I mean, beautiful.
Yeah.
And then is there any special quality to the cabinets you'll be buying
Yes,
to keep
so
them safe?
yes, so that's what I'm working on, because we did buy 2 previously. So I'm working with that company because obviously, you know, it's been a few years and everything has gone up. So determining the number of cabinets we're going to need based on the number of rolls of film, and then so that's why I think it was around $18,000 I spent on 2. So that's why I'm asking for maybe another 30,000 ish to cover that, or it'll be another emergency request.
No. Okay.
Mr. Long.
So you demonstrated the need, and if I understand you right, you have a fund that you can draw from
Yes.
that will pay for both the reproduction and the cabinets.
Yes.
And you're asking permission from us to use that fund.
Well, because I budget out of that fund every year so much, which
Okay.
you guys approve. So leaving the rest in that fund. So now I'm gonna go over what I originally budgeted.
She's tapping into her savings account pretty much.
I would make that motion.
Yeah.
Okay, motion to
Yeah.
approve, Mr. Long, second by Ms.
Second,
Ms.
Parker.
Chairman Wheeler.
Just a question for Steve. Do special funds require a majority vote of the full board to amend the budget? Or does this stop here? So this will have to go to the full board as a 2/3 vote. I just want to
Okay.
make sure we're procedurally.
Yeah, no,
doing it
absolutely.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an amendment of the budget, and so it's appropriated.
So May 14th,
We're good.
just so I can let the vendor know.
Yep. So,
I just didn't know if there was difference between special funds and general fund, so just want to make sure.
thank you, Chairman. Mr. Huss.
Thank you, Chairman. Lori, I'm not very good with computers, and you can ask this guy sitting behind me. But I'm sort of dumb. What is that optional brown tone county set? What's that mean?
So what they're gonna do is they're gonna put an additional layer on the film that's gonna help protect it. So, yeah, I don't know that much about it, but I learned more than probably I ever should know. But in terms of just doing a straight copy, that's just a raw copy, and by putting this layer on, it's gonna preserve it for even longer, and that's the goal here. So that this is always here regardless of who's in the seat. This information will always be available to our constituents.
Thank you.
Ms.
Mr.
Weber.
Chairman?
Ms. Weber, really quick, and then Tinker. You.
What I'm glad to read on here is that the company who's doing the copying will take your old.
Yes.
And
Oh,
dispose.
I forgot to tell you. If you ever go in our basement and into our little secure area that Dan and I have, I've tried to keep it as pleasant as possible, but it's appalling. And so they have agreed they will take all of that, as well as what is in my office now, and it gets destroyed. So confidence this information will not be loose out there somewhere for somebody to find. It will go through a process of destruction. So that's a great thing for us. So it cleans out our basement a little bit too.
Great highlight, Carol. Great highlight. Ms. Parker.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Lori, I'm glad to know that you're going to get that layer on top of the film for protection. No matter, I worked with film for years, and I will tell you, no matter how you try to protect film, it's going to fade, and it just kind of darkens. So I'm glad you're going to be able to do that, because that will preserve it for much longer. And I totally support that.
Thank you. Our grandchildren will be able to look at this someday. They know you all agree to it. Great grandchildren.
Any other discussion or comments? If not, roll call.
Mr. Eckhoff?
Aye.
Mr. Dennell? Mr. Hess?
Aye.
Ms. Polk?
Aye.
Ms. Weber?
Aye.
Ms. Parker?
Aye.
Mr. Swanson?
Aye.
Mr. Featherling? Mr. Long?
Aye.
Mr. Hunter? Ms. Foster? Mr. Wheeler? Motion carries.
Motion carries. Thank you, Lori.
Thank you.
Next up, old and new business, setting the salary for the Kankakee County Auditor, Circuit Clerk, Recorder, Coroner, County Board, and County Board Chairman.
I'll take this one.
Okay, Mr. Alexander, is that for?
So first off, I would like to thank the committee members, Craig Long, Steve Hunter, Peggy Monday, Chairman, Chair, and Anita. So we're here today to set the salaries for the auditor, circuit clerk, recorder, coroner, county board, and board chairman. If you scroll to the last page in your packet, you'll see 3 boxes. The first box is a salary survey from 2024 UCCI, which you'll notice in April 2022, we used the same salary survey for the treasurer and the clerk. And the first line under there is, and we used it for based on population, so like counties. So we picked them, and you'll see the 5 right there, not including Kankakee, we have 4. So you'll see the averages as well as the compa ratio. You'll notice by the numbers that our salaries aren't disproportionately low based on the K3 salaries of the percentage. So that's where we got that number, and it'll be a breakdown. The second box shows the actual salary, the increase percentage wise, and then now it's a state law where you have to make a distinction between the pay and the stipend. So in the resolution, you have to have the pay plus the stipend. I just want to make that clear. The last box is the board chairman, vice chairman, and board members. So for the board chairman, we raised it 3% for 2 years, which is kind of going along with inflation. For the vice chairman, we raised it from 75 to 110. And for even board member districts, because you can't do both at the same time, we raised it from 75 to 85. So for 2 years, it'll be different, and then we'll be able to change the odd numbers. And that's pretty much all I have to say.
All right, thank you. Any questions or comments regarding this? Can I have a motion to combine and approve? Motion by Ms. Weber, second by Mr. Featherling. Again, any comments or questions? Ms. Weber, you're already on.
How did you decide how the stipend will be paid? Is it up to the...
It's set by state.
Yes.
No, but how the employee gets it? Is it one's check or is it distributed?
I believe it's a separate check that the state sends to us, and then they certify it and give it to the elected official.
But I know we don't come up with that number.
Correct. It's set by the state of Illinois.
The stipend is set by the state of Illinois?
Yes. Correct?
Oh, nice.
Yes.
So that doesn't have to be budgeted?
Correct. It doesn't come from the county.
We just have to have it in the resolution.
Sure.
Any other questions? If not, roll call.
Mr. Eckhoff?
Aye.
Mr. Dennell?
Aye.
Mr. Hess? Aye. Ms. Polk?
Aye.
Ms. Weber? Aye. Ms. Parker?
Aye.
Mr. Swanson?
Aye.
Mr. Featherling? Mr. Long?
Aye.
Mr. Hunter? Ms. Foster? Mr. Wheeler? Motion carries.
Motion carries. Yes, Mr. Fallon.
I'd like to say something, Mr. Chairman. Whoever laid this out for us here, I don't know whoever did this, it's perfectly done for.
You'll have to thank Anita for that one.
You save probably 10 pieces of paper by putting it all on one, you know.
Well,
very nice. Thank you.
Good job, Anita. No one from the auditor's office. Any other old, new, other business? Mr. Huss. Motion to adjourn, second by Mr. Dunnell. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you everybody for attending.